What is going on, Silver Squad? RJ here from the Silver Site, back with another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing season 4 of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is now streaming on the Netflix platform. Today I have a very special guest with me. You guys have seen her on the show before. We've worked together on the Silver Site, and we worked together on for the Blurcher. You know her, you love her. Everybody, welcome Desiree.
Hey guys,
What's
how are
going on?
you?
What is going on? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for coming on. I know, you got a lot going on, so I appreciate you taking the time out to jump on here to talk about Sabrina with me. So I really appreciate you taking the time out for that.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So we have a lot to talk about today. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody out there, I'm going to do the obligatory YouTube. Go ahead and like, share, most importantly, subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and let's get this discussion popping on Sabrina season 4. So Sabrina season 4 follows Sabrina Spellman and the rest of the gang as they prepare to take on the Eldridge Terrors, as they make their way into the world. I want to say Father Blackwood has some of the Eldridge Terrors to, I guess, destroy the world. For what reason, I really don't understand his motivation too much, but he wanted to destroy the world. Apparently, I don't know. I guess that's what they decided to go with this season. But before we do begin, this is a spoiler review. So if you have not watched Sabrina Part 4, go ahead and hit pause, watch Sabrina, come back to this video so you can join the discussion with Desiree and I. So yeah, let's talk about season 4. So what did you think about the plot of season 4 as far as the Eldritch Terrors? What did you think about that?
Oh my God. So the plot was a bit all over the place for me, I must admit.
Yeah,
However, I will say that this season was a lot better than last
yeah,
season. I actually
agreed.
worried after last season. Um,
Yeah,
I think they had a good concept with what was going on as far as the Eldritch Terrors, the uninvited, the returned, and the weird.
yeah,
Had a lot to work with there,
yeah,
which I guess that's kind of good. But at the same time, they had so much to work with that there were some storylines they introduced within it that just did not they couldn't
yeah,
finish for whatever reason. So it's like, why
agreed.
introduce it? So it was quite an adventure.
Yeah,
But
agreed. See, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, because I was thinking the same thing. I felt like this season it felt kind of rushed, and it felt like they had like four different storylines crammed into one. I felt like we could have done the Eldritch Terrors in one storyline. I felt like we could have done Sabrina and Sabrina, the worlds colliding in one, another season. I felt like everything they did was they had like three simultaneous plots going on, and it felt like a little bit much at times. There were some things they did I felt they did well. There's some things that I felt could have been done a little better. But overall, I felt like one thing I liked about the Eldritch Terrors is it felt like the stakes were a little bit higher this season, as far as like it being more of a universal end to everything instead of just an end to one realm, end to the hell realm, the end of the mortal realm. I felt like this was like, okay, we all have to take care of this problem, or that's going to be it. So that's one thing I did enjoy about season part 4. Now I want to get into kind of what everybody was doing this season. It felt like some people had more to do than others, and I was kind of disappointed that some characters didn't get more screen times or more cohesive stories. I want to start with the Spellmans, of course, and of course the star of the show, Sabrina. I like the fact that we kind of get to see her take a little bit more responsibility than we've ever seen her take on before. Because I felt like in the past it was more so Sabrina doing whatever she wanted to do, and everybody else kind of suffering the consequences. So, what did you think about what Sabrina and Ambrose and the aunties had to go through this season?
I definitely will say that because the stakes were higher in part four, it did give
Hmm.
them a lot to do. I would even argue that a lot of the, supporting actors who were kind of sidelined in the part one,
Yeah.
part two, actually got more of a main role going here. And it kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones, just trying to keep track of all these
Oh.
characters. And it's like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes you even forget that Sabrina is the main character, is the lead
Yeah.
at times. So I will say that it kind of got jumbled up a bit. I do realize that they tried to give everyone their shine, but yeah, it did kind of, because the story was so rushed, and everyone was trying to, they were introducing new storylines for them, and
Yeah.
it was a lot to take in, I will say. But
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I liked Sabrina's storyline probably the most because I felt like, at being that it was the final season, I feel like it should have been focused on her, which is kind of why I was kind of like not disappointed, but I was kind of expecting more overall as far as giving people things to do. But I get why on Sabrina, and she did get, the majority of the storyline. But I also do believe that they gave a lot of people a lot to do. But all it worked in some ways, and in some ways it didn't. The Fright Club, I feel like is one way that it didn't really work, because I felt like Theo kind of really didn't have a storyline. They tried, like I think you mentioned, they introduced things and characters, and then they didn't follow up on it, because I was expecting this whole thing with the goblins, and I didn't get anything from the Fright Club this season but bad music.
I really enjoyed the episode The Returned, because I think that when they were doing the Battle of the Bands, that was the part that I enjoyed the most. However, I would say that it was kind of random to do something like that.
It felt out of place.
Like, where does this really fit? It was a good time.
Yeah.
I danced to the music. And I liked how the music actually related to what was going on with the time jump and everything, which was a monster in of itself, because Sabrina ended up creating a doppelganger.
Yeah.
Which I actually like the doppelganger more than Sabrina Spellman, I must say. I do. I wanted to learn more about
You like Sabrina Morningstar better?
Yes. She had more of an interesting story, I think.
Yeah.
That I would have loved to explore more, but of course it's all about
I agree.
Spellman. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely prefer Sabrina Morningstar to Sabrina Spellman. I feel like Sabrina Spellman is a little self-righteous. I feel like she kind of doesn't understand that, the world doesn't revolve around her. And for so many seasons it has, she'll go to sacrifice her life. And they're like, no, Sabrina, we'll do what we have to do and almost die for you. And I never understood for the life of me, like, yo, she's trying to die. Like, let her die. Like, yeah, go. Like, why you guys, you're mortal. Why y'all jumping in this? It's sort of like with True Blood and Sookie Stackhouse. I feel like Sookie Stackhouse is the same as Sabrina, because she keeps putting herself in danger, and I guess consequently putting everybody around her in danger. So for me, Sabrina is aggravating in that sense, but I do enjoy Sabrina Morningstar a lot better than I do Sabrina Spellman. Now, as far as the Harvey and Roz, Harvey, I don't really have too much to say because I feel like he didn't do anything. But how do you feel about them kind of recognizing Roz as a witch this season? Because I had that theory last season, but what do you think about Roz being a witch?
I thought that storyline was fascinating, and it's about time they gave my girl Roz something to do.
Yeah.
And be sort of sideline and the sidekick. I actually love that she was able to join up with Prudence and Mamba Marie, and they sort of formed this whole Sentinels thing where they can, telepathy and all that stuff. It was really nice to see that. I was rooting for her.
I was too. When she showed up at our house and kind of revealed that she was a witch, I jumped up for a minute because I was like, I knew it. I called it in season 1 and season 2 or 1. I knew she was a witch, and just that confirmation for me was like, I should just write this show. I know everything about this show. Like it boosted my confidence so high up. But I love the fact that they kind of rebuilt the Weird Sisters in an organic way, and they kind of linked them to each other. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed about this season. Was probably my favorite. It was the uniting, or the reintroduction of the new Weird Sisters, because y'all know I stand Prudence, man. I love everything about Prudence, the way she carries herself, even in the beginning. Even when Mama Marie told Roz and Prudence that she may be a witch, just her attitude, it was like, she thinks she's a witch, like just but she's mortal. Like just the way she carries herself, and I love Prudence, and I'll forever ever stand Prudence. And it's crazy that you said you liked the episode, the band episode, because that was my least favorite episode. I wanted to fast forward past that episode so bad. Like it's one thing because for me, I watched Riverdale for like 2 seasons and I couldn't take it anymore. And I feel like when they do things like that, it just reminds me of Riverdale, and I'm like, I can't do it.
Well, I
But
mean, they
that's
tried
probably
to do
my
it across
least.
the world. They should have crossed.
Yeah,
Yeah, they should have done the
yeah.
crossover. I don't know what
They
happened.
kept mentioning they kept mentioning Riverdale throughout Sabrina, but we never got any character crossovers. So I don't know what that was about. I have
Yeah.
no idea. So let's move on to the Academy with Father Blackwood. We did talk about Prudence. One character I do want to talk about is Nick, and I don't like Nick's characterization this season because he turned from this dangerous, menacing, like bad guy to this we're in game Spellman. And it kind of like really watered his character down for me, man. Because and I get that he was with Prudence and they broke up to get him back with Sabrina, but where did this mushy, lovey-dovey, I care about you, Sabrina, come from? Because for the whole first half of the season, he wasn't really checking for her like that. And then when she got the weird, that's when he kind of started, jumping and trying to be with Sabrina. So how did you feel about Nick, Lilith, Prudence, Father Blackwood? How did you feel about those characters this season?
Well, one thing I have to say about Nick is that, come on now, really, like, now you're in love with her?
Yeah.
It seemed like he fell more in love with her, or fell for her rather, when he was pushing her away.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is kind of
I agree.
thing for me. And then she's
Yeah.
like, no, you're gonna have to work for this, basically.
Earn me.
So yeah, exactly. That's what it was. Until he did that very stupid thing at the end, which I don't understand that. I don't feel like they've known each other long enough for him to just swim in a river and.
Thank you.
Are we romanticizing this, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of off-putting.
Yeah, it was weird. It was real weird.
Right, and then Lilith. Oh my God! Like, we're killing babies.
And it's crazy because I was holding on to hope that she didn't kill the baby, and then I was like, okay, she has it in her arm, and then she pulled it back, and it was a doll. Yes. My heart dropped. I was like, yo, she really did kill that baby.
Lilith proved to be psychotic this time.
Yes.
Like more so than ever. Out of all the stuff she's done, this was it right here.
That's the worst thing she's ever done.
Right, because
that is the worst thing.
You have a baby that could potentially, and I know she's threatened by morning stars, just existence of being queen and all of that. But her baby could have well been next in line. Why would you do that? And you know who you laid down with. So don't give me the excuse that, oh, I didn't want him to be raised by you. He's Satan.
Yeah, exactly.
No excuse. And you
no excuse.
Power strips.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Lucifer, I was irritated with him this season too, because last season he terrified me. I was like, he's gonna kill Nick, he's gonna kill everybody. But then this season he's like a sitcom dad where he's like, don't talk to my dad. Like he came off really weird this season. Like he was jokey, he was managing a band. He was like, Lucifer really has time for a battle of the bands. And for me, it was just weird. This the way they kind of switched his personality for me was just odd. I just didn't understand it. Right. I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, and I will say one more thing about Lilith is that it was too easy for her to have killed Lucifer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I felt this season was too easy. The Eldritch Terrors. I feel like for you to be an entity that predates time, you shouldn't be able to be trapped inside of a yellow house in a spell. I feel like you shouldn't be able to be frozen inside of an octopus in a tank. It was weird to me, man.
Freaking Ambrose, good job.
Yeah. and even with Ambrose too, I feel like Ambrose was just the dictionary this season. He was just the book of spells. This is going on, Ambrose. What do we do? Fix it, and then he fixes it. I felt like a lot of things. Now, don't get me wrong. I know y'all are probably saying they're hating on Sabrina. I really enjoyed season 4. It's not my favorite season, but I really enjoyed season 4 of Sabrina so much so that I wish it wasn't canceled. But I will say, being completely transparent, there were some problems that I did have. Like we talked about plots that were introduced and then they were just dropped. The Celestial, where did that come from? I thought we were going to get a whole kind of backstory between the Celestial being Metatron and Lucifer, and we didn't.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There was so much that was introduced that we could have expanded on, but again, they crammed so much in, you know,
Yeah,
and
they
I think
did.
the season would have been better had we not known that it was canceled. If we kept having
Okay.
the idea that it would keep going into a part
Yeah,
5, I could say that this would be okay. It was a loaded season, but it was a good one, you know?
that's a positive way to put it. It was a loaded season.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very crowded with endless possibilities of ideas where maybe stories can kind of finish here and there. They may continue with a comic. They may, somebody else may pick it up and make it rebooted later. Um, but yeah, that's a good way to put it. Is the season was loaded. One storyline that I really was irritated with, not irritated. One storyline I was disappointed in that didn't get kind of fleshed out was Mambo Marie and Zelda. I
Yeah.
was really weirded out at the end when it turned out to be I can't think of the entity's name, but it turned out to be that gentleman. And for me, I thought back to last season when they were doing spells that were rooted in femininity, that were rooted in divine femininity. So how did that spell work if it wasn't done by a female? So it was just weird to me that it kind of erased some of the things for the last season.
Right. Yeah, I think visually it kind of looked okay, but then when you really sit there and think about it, just like, yeah, how did that work? Knowing what we know about divine
Yeah,
affinity, how was he able to? It was just kind of weird, and it was rushed. The relationship between Aunt Zelda and
yeah,
Uncle Marie. I wish we could have gotten a little bit more into how they fell for each
yeah,
other. You know, it was
exactly.
just there, but
Yeah,
what
they were just together.
qualities that attracted them, you know? Because I thought it was a very sweet relationship. Everybody
Yeah.
seems to have been in a relationship but Sabrina. I
And
mean,
she was hating in the beginning. She was
yes, she
hating
was.
hard,
And then
man.
she created the dream man. She gave him
Yeah,
candle wax, but they never
yeah.
followed through with that storyline. And then you had Lucas, and I'm like, well, where did Lucas come from? And then we never, it was just all over the place.
None of it
So that
made
goes to show you that
any sense.
I wish that since they were exploring sort of her being bored as hell, I guess we could
Hmm.
say throughout the season,
Yeah,
they should have dig deeper into her having her own self-identity crisis and sort of
okay.
depression behind seeing everybody else happy around her.
I like that. I like the way you spun that because I felt like this should have been more about Sabrina discovering herself outside of a relationship, outside of who she is as, possibly the Queen of Hell, Lucifer's daughter, and I felt like we didn't get that. I felt like you said, it was a very loaded, very crowded season. So before we end this video, give me a couple of your favorite moments from Sabrina Part 4.
Well, as I said, I love the Battle of the Bands. I know it's not as popular because I've been seeing a lot of people like,
Boo!
I know, right? I know. Why is this song? I enjoyed the little time jump song. I was just,
Yeah,
but
you was getting it.
I was. And then I also enjoyed the uninvited episode with the homeless man pushing the cart.
Okay, yep.
I thought that was pretty funny that Sabrina had to kiss him and try to, I'm like, I don't know what you're thinking, girl, but
Yeah,
do it for the fam, you know.
take one for the team.
Exactly. I love the fact that we discovered that she herself happened to be the void, because
Yeah,
that was what was plaguing the miners in the beginning, and they were
yeah,
putting out all of the lights in Greendale. I thought that those things were very interesting, and again, I love the fact that Roz was able to go into her own or be introduced into a different coven, discovering that she was a witch. Therefore,
yeah.
created the Sentinels and Prudence with the samurai swords. I was like, yes,
Stand Prudence all day, all
Prudence
day.
all day.
Stand
I
Prudence
love
all day.
that's my
She
girl.
was my favorite character. She's
Yes,
my favorite character. Even when she was, I guess, on the quote unquote bad side, I always loved Prudence.
there's
She
just
definitely,
something so interesting about her.
yeah, she's magnetic. She's really a magnetic character.
Definitely.
Definitely. I'll say that my favorite moment, I had a couple. Of course, Roz coming into her own and the reveal that she was a witch. I felt that was really well done. Another moment that just had me cracking up was when they killed, the three kings of hell. When they went to go retrieve Lilith's baby and they murdered them with the pain of childbirth. And when he came back to Clay, to Cal, he was like, they killed him with the pain of childbirth. That
That'll
probably
do
had to
it.
be my favorite. I'm telling you, because man, we can't even do a splinter, a paper cut, a child. That childbirth definitely killed him.
Oh my god.
Definitely killed him. One more thing that I did enjoy, and it's very small, but I feel like it's something that needed to happen, was when Roz called out Sabrina about lying and about just not, you know, or when she said something about when Sabrina was like, "Well, you guys are changing," and Roz was like, "You've been changing since you're 16." Like
Right.
I like the fact that she called her out because I don't think that anybody had really called her out on anything besides Ambrose when he told her, don't do this, and then you do it, and then stuff blows up. But I feel like I don't think anybody's ever like kind of brought her own hypocrisy to her attention this whole season, and I feel like that to me was like, okay, somebody finally said it. So that those are my kind of my favorite moments for Sabrina part 4. So hold on, I'm gonna edit this out too because I had a brain freeze just now.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So all right, and boom. So yeah, those are some things that I enjoyed about Sabrina part 4. I'm really disappointed. I really wish that they would continue another season because, as you said before, they have a lot of things that they could explore. So I want to ask you real quick before we get out of here. With all the drop season storylines in this season, what would be one storyline that you would want them to see them continue for part 5?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I would actually, and it's probably everyone's least favorite, but I want them to explore, like, I don't know. I wanted more of Lucas for some reason. For some
Okay.
odd reason. There was just something about him. And he just went away or just kind of faded out.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
just
only reason is
disappeared.
just to take him away from us. Like,
Because I feel like that was the least explored character.
yes, so it's like, why
Yeah.
have him there? So I
Yeah.
would definitely say Lucas, exploring that storyline. I'm not
Okay.
a huge fan of Nick, so having her be with someone different would have actually, I think, done the story well.
Yeah. Okay. One thing that I would have liked for them to kind of dive deeper into was the whole that's that episode where Zelda and Mamba Marie, when she said goodbye to Zelda, where he said goodbye to Zelda. I felt like that's something that I would love to have them explore deeper. Why did she introduce herself as Mamba Marie? Why didn't she just? I know she explained it briefly, but I felt like there had to be a deeper reason as to why. And the game that they were playing, to kind of combat death, to beat death, to get everybody back to their graves. I would feel I want to see that whole kind of thing explored in season 5, either that or the celestial beings. I felt like that's something so grand, and you
Right.
just touch on it, and it's not even a full episode. It was like a fraction of the episode, and they moved on with it. So that's one thing that I definitely would like for them to explore deeper. If they were to do a part 5, which we know they're not because it's canceled. But yeah, what can you do? Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So those are our thoughts on Sabrina Part 4. Before I go, I just want to give you a chance to plug your social medias and where can we find you at, Desiree?
Of course, yes. So on Instagram, you guys can find me at Desiree Geraldine _. That's Desiree Geraldine _. And on Facebook, just Desiree Geraldine.
All right, great. And you guys can follow me on all social media platforms at Avatar Rating. Don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Also, go ahead and check out our other show we have called For the Blurt, where we discuss all things black and all things nerdy. With that being said, you guys have a great day. Later days.
Bye.